Disney themed parks, the most amazing places on Earth. The joy that comes with visiting any of these magical parks is unrivaled. But these parks, however magical they might be, hold some deep dark secrets most of you don't know about. Which is why today we bring you the top 5 creepy facts about Disney themed parks. But before we go any further, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to get more content from us. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. 5. Secret tunnels. Did you know that there are dark, creepy tunnels that lie just beneath Disneyland? Now known as Disneyland Park, it is the first of 2 theme parks built at Disneyland Resorts in Anaheim, California, and it was the first Disney theme park ever to be built. Disneyland was built on an erroneously complex tunnel system. These tunnels are not really underground since the park itself sits on the 2nd floor. The tunnels are on the 1st floor. They allow Disney characters and staff to move around with ease so as not to encounter the public. These tunnels are usually dark, damp, silent, and so long that to travel them requires the use of a golf cart. The system of tunnels, which are referred to as utility doors, are part of Disney's backstage area. They allow cast members or employees to quickly reach their destination. The main reason these ground-level tunnels were built was because owners didn't want a Tomorrowland cast member to be seen walking around in Frontierland, which would ruin the magical appearance the park was meant to depict. Apart from using these tunnels to avoid the public, there is also a cafeteria in which cast members can go to quickly grab a bite when on break from their various posts. There are also custom rooms, dressing rooms, and makeup rooms, all found within these tunnels. There is basically another set of civilizations living underneath Disneyland. So when you next visit Disneyland, know that there are a bunch of people enjoying a plate of salad right underneath your feet. Creepy, right? 4. Real skeletons. Undoubtedly, one of the creepiest facts you will ever hear about Disney-themed parks is that they once used real skeletons as props. Before he passed away, Walt Disney himself supervised the design of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney Park. Using all his creativity, he set out to make the ride a truly amazing one, and boy did he accomplish this. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride stood out as a major accomplishment, setting the standard for other theme park rides when it opened in 1967. After his passing, the Imaginer team thought that the prop skeletons that were used were not convincing enough. So they reached out to the UCLA Medical School to provide them with cadaver skeletons to make the ride as realistic as possible. So, if you're watching this video, and among the very first set of people to take the ride, you probably enjoyed the ride with real skeletons. Now that's creepy. A couple of years later, the skeletons were removed and replaced with better props after word got out about the use of real skeletons. Guests complained that it made them really uncomfortable. Surprisingly, not all skeletons were removed. There still remains a human skull which can be seen above the bed in the captain's quarters. According to employees and visitors, they claim this ride is one of the most haunted Disney locations. Number 3. Pet Cemetery. If you're one who's easily scared of ghosts, then you might want to avoid the Pet Cemetery located on the west side of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, which is used as a graveyard for deceased animals. The Haunted Mansion is a house which is often thought to be inhabited by the spirits of the deceased, who may have been the former residents or owners of the property. The haunting effect of the mansion is attributed to the spirits of the dead, who have all suffered violent and tragic deaths within the 4 walls of the building. All of these, however real it might sound, are false. They are ploys used by cast members to scare guests. One part of the mansion that is very real, however, is the creepy pet cemetery. It is said that the cemetery was added sometime in the 1980s by Imaginer Kim Irvine, who wanted to add to the scary demeanor of the mansion. A couple of years later, Imaginers added another pet cemetery. This time, it was situated in front of the haunted mansion, where all park guests could easily spot the tombstones of some animals like Rosie the pig and Old Fly Bart the frog. The original pet cemetery was left in place, so the only people who get to see it are cast members or guests who request to visit the cemetery. There are 4 creepy tombstones in the original cemetery, and they are surrounded by a bunch of ghost stories, one of which claims the spirits of the dead animals come out to play at night. 2. Disneyland Paris suicides. Something straight out of a horror movie happened in 2010 when a chef who worked at Disneyland Paris committed suicide. The cause of death was tied to the park after he wrote on his wall, "I don't want to work for Mickey anymore." The chef, Frank, who had cooked at Disneyland for 10 years, killed himself on the day he was reportedly supposed to return to the park after a long period of sickness. Although Disney has come out to debunk any claims tying the death of the chef to his work at Disney, Frank's father-in-law says Frank was depressed by staff cuts and a policy to switch from freshly made food to frozen produce. Another Disneyland Paris suicide saw another chef take his own life. The cause of his death was also tied to him working at Disneyland, referring to the humiliating treatment he gets at work. Also, in 2013, a Disneyland Paris employee tried to light himself on fire. Thankfully, he was stopped by other co-workers. Disneyland is meant to be a place of happiness, but for whatever reason, these employees were led down a suicidal path. It certainly raises the question, what creepy things could be going on in this supposedly magical kingdom? 1. Death at the Carousel of Progress. On the number 1 spot for today, we have the creepiest fact of them all. On July 8th, 1974, an 18-year-old high school senior, Deborah Gale Stone, was accidentally crushed to death in between 2 walls of the Carousel of Progress, just 9 days after the attraction opened. Deborah, who was pronounced dead by 11 p.m. on July 8th, was thought to have either jumped, stepped backward, or fell between the stationary wall and the rotating wall of the carousel. Her screams were heard by one of the audience members, who then notified the park staff. But by the time they had arrived at the scene, she was already dead. Deborah's parents sued Disneyland for the death of their daughter. This only led to the payment of a small settlement. According to cast members, they claim up till today, they still hear Deborah's voice reminding them to be careful. Which one of these facts do you think is the creepiest? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Until next time, take care.